What's up, my YouTube friends? I thought this thing was recording. I've been talking to this camera for like 10 minutes. Stupid. Hey, welcome to another episode of Questions from the Truck. This is number 2 of season 2. We'll call this season 2, even though last year wasn't a full season. But hey, thanks for your questions. I'm going to try to get you answers. And how this show works is you guys put your questions below in the comments, and I answer them. I get you answers for the next show. So that's how it works. And you guys answer the questions today below too. And that's how it works. So without further ado, let's get to the show. So my first question comes from Georgia Sunbelt, Anthony over there. Anthony wants to know the best way you guys clean track. And he said he's going to open up a can of worms here because there's so many ways. But I think that's good because everybody's got their way of cleaning track. So you guys, I don't know if you remember seeing that CSX sand patch Nscale video that I did back in November. You know what? I'm going to put a link to it somewhere so you can check it out. But this layout was all Nscale, and this guy must have had, no exaggeration, 10,000, 20,000 trees. I mean, there were so many trees on this layout, and the layout was so big, and it was so clean. So I asked him, I said, how do you keep this so clean? He covers it in plastic. When he's not using it, he just drapes plastic over the entire thing. I think he had it like hooked up to the ceiling. His layout was in the basement, so he might have like had it rolled up on the ceiling, and he just, when he's done using it, he covers it. He says he never cleans his track. Never. That's what he told me. And his layout was probably, I forget, 10 years, 15, 12 years he's had it up, and he said he never cleaned it. And it looks, the trees are like, they look like the day you put them up. So that might be a good way. Cover your layout, as hard as it might be to do, but it makes good sense. So let Anthony know how you guys clean your track. And my next question comes from Model Railer. Thank you for your question. This one was like directed to me, and you guys can answer it too. So Model Railer, he wanted to know how old I was when I got into trains. And, you know, I can remember my best friend, growing up, we never had trains in our house. But my best friend did. And his dad would put up, a Lionel set around the Christmas tree. And I remember, I was probably like 14, 15 years old, something like that. And, man, I used to look forward to that every year because it was cool. It was something I'd never seen before. So I'd say like 14 years old. And then shortly after that, I bought some HO, and then later got into what I got into now. Do I have a layout? No. That was his other question. If not, are you? Eventually. Sorry. But eventually. Don't know when. And what's my favorite scale? Nscale. Yeah, I got into Nscale again with my friend who we used to go back in like the late 80s, mid 80s. Yeah, something like that. Used to be this hobby shop in Delaware called Mitchell's. And every year they'd have a 50% off sale. So I always thought Nscale was cool just because it was small. And you could do so much with it. I still think it's cool. It's just hard to see, but it's cool. So I started buying stuff. And that's where I would buy all my stuff, these 50% off sales. You know, if you could get a good, back then, an Atlas engine was like, I don't know, $80. Something like that, I remember. And you used to be able to get them for like $30, $40. So that's how that happened. So Nscale. My favorite. Thanks for that question, Monorail John. And you guys, hey, tell John how old you were, what's your favorite scale, and your story. So my next question comes from Sparky 107. He wants to know, his question is staging yards. Why do you hide them? I'm with you, brother. Because I like yards. I like to see switches. That's my favorite thing about a layout is yards and the switches. All the switches all lined up. I kind of like that. And yeah, why do you hide it? Why do you hide your staging yards? Is it because they're ugly? Or you think they're ugly? Or what is it? I don't get it. So let Sparky know why you do it. And I had a question too. And darn if I forgot it. I need to write them down too. But it'll come to me. I'll catch it on the next one probably. Oh yeah, I remember it. Just like that. Hey, who makes DJ's Model Trains? You guys know DJ. He talked about spring switches on the railroad, right? Essentially, a spring switch. You guys don't know what a spring switch is. It's neither thrown by a arm or electronically by dispatch. It's reset and sets. Its movement is when that locomotive and the train goes over the spring switch. So there's no you don't have to get out and throw a switch. You don't have to call for a switch to be thrown, and you don't have to rethrow it to realign to the main line. Does anybody make spring switches for your layouts, especially in Nscale? Let me know. Spring switches. And if you want a better explanation about it, go check out DJ's video. Alright, so hey, that's my questions for the week. I thank you as always, and I wish you all a blessed week coming, and take care. And again, I'm going to put links and questions in the comments so you can read them better, and go check out these channels if you aren't subscribed to them, and subscribe to them. Hey, thank you again, and see ya!